Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It's just the club call. I'm back again, but this time on YouTube. I've been on Patreon a few times. You'd have to pay, obviously, to see that. You get full net then. But no, I'm back. I'm joined by John. John, it's been some time. How are you?
You're a lot bigger than you were.
I'm not as fat as I was in January. I've shredded it, but I'm still big. Big man, like I was.
I'm good. Are you?
I'm very good. It's the build-up to the last game at Goodison Park on Sunday, last Premier League game. It's also the road to 100,000, which I feel like we'd have hit there now if I never left, to be honest. But I promised I'd get a tattoo of 100,000 when we hit it.
You did, yeah.
So I feel like I should.
And
I buy
I
it for that.
checked the small print, and it said nothing about whether you were still here or not.
I'll do it. Listen, if Ped does it, I'll do it because Ped promised as well.
He said he'd do it as well. Yeah.
If Ped does it, I will do it.
So was it 113?
Yeah, 113 away.
If you don't subscribe already, please press.
I will do it. Yeah. I will come in and I'll get the tattoo. But listen,
we'll film it, won't we?
Seriously, the stuff. I'm sure the lads have got stuff planned as well for 100,000. If not, I'll do something myself. I'll come in and have this tattoo live on air.
I thought that was the plan anyway.
On my bottom.
We'll certainly record it, won't we?
Yeah, definitely. We'll do it live, just in case I faint.
Your young lady will have to
be
approve it, won't she?
I'll just not tell her.
She might notice.
I didn't tell her about that one because she's got the same one.
Has she?
I didn't want to think I was copying, but I wanted it first. But I went in and Harry was like, "Do you want me to do another one? Have you got time?" Yeah, go on, let's do that one. But no, it's good to be back. It's a good week to be back as well. I'm looking forward to hearing some of the best Goodison Park memories from some of our Patreon members and YouTube members, of course, if they call in as well. But John, what's your best Goodison Park memory while we're here?
I haven't done the show yet, so I don't want to give anything away.
Oh, are you doing? I was in another show.
Yeah,
Is there?
They've been doing little cameos.
Oh, it's right. Well, we'll hear.
Johnny Bongo out tonight at 8 o'clock.
Oh, is he the next
right.
one out?
Johnny Bongo, bongos, bingos, Premier members.
Gone out as well.
Of course.
No, that's Friday, I think.
Friday.
You have to be a Premier member, and why wouldn't you? It's £3.
Luke Garbutt's out for Premier members now as well.
Oh, good one. Now, what's interesting though is these are your Goodison memories, the good ones. And someone was talking to me at Fulham, about when are you on and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, my problem is that, as Baz knows, when games are finished, they're finished. Something where he remembers everything, doesn't he? However, I could do a Goodison memories I didn't get. Like I wasn't there for Bayern Munich. I wasn't there for the 4-4, with Liverpool. And there's stories associated with why I wasn't in those places at that time. Because, what is it? One game left for the men's team.
Yeah.
And Everton did a tweet. Was it yesterday? Did the tweet and said how many games it is. And I suddenly realised that
2,000 or something like that.
2,800 or look it up if you would, James. Everton did a tweet yesterday about what number game it will be. 2,700 and something. And it dawned on me I've probably been to 25% of them.
Yeah, since
1966.
Early 60s, yeah.
Yeah, late 60s. But what year were you born?
2000, you're 58, weren't you? So you'd have been like 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah. So you were born in 2000?
2000,
so
yeah.
34 years before you were born, I was going to Goodison Park.
I think only...
Mad, isn't it?
20 years. Only less than 20% of the games have taken place in my lifetime. I've probably only been to about 5% of them, if that.
2,790.
2,790.
That is incredible.
And what, with the next one 91, or that will be the 90?
I'd love to know how many we've won.
2,790.
How many we've won.
All the stats are out there. Because we're still top of the all-time league table. I think we've probably
the good thing is as well, obviously, we've had some news, and we'll get your take on it as well while we're on YouTube. I'm sure people will be interested to hear. The Goodison Park will live on longer, but with the hostesses, I should say. There's going to be the Everton's women's team. It'll be their home. I think it's good news. Listen, I think I don't know what it costs financially to keep it running open and have the women playing it, but I'm sure the club would have done their due diligence on that. It's not like a decision they've made free willily, nilly-lilly. They would have done all the research and checks before they moved into there with the women. So I look at the positives only, and it gives people opportunity to go and see the stadium. Listen, I'm sure there's, for example, people in care who don't have parents who just simply can't afford to go watch a Premier League game. They get a chance to go watch Everton play in Goodison Park for a little bit cheaper. They get to experience it. They might have had the time to experience it before Everton move. they can come and experience it now, and I'm sure it'll be just as good watching the women. Might not be full, but they get to experience Goodison Park, and that's the main thing. I think there's only positives, and the women have got a just under 40,000 seater stadium to themselves. I don't know any other English Super League teams, the women's Super League teams who have a 40,000 stadium to themselves.
Arsenal. No, sorry. Some have bigger stadiums.
But they're not to
no
themselves.
one has them to themselves.
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
And I don't think it'll be 40, to be honest. I don't think they'll use the whole stadium.
Well, no, but it's...
And even during the transition period, I think it'll just be the lower part of the stadium.
Yeah.
But it's still got to be over 15k, I would think.
So it's magnificent.
Plenty of opportunities to get some big crowds in there.
Well, what was your initial thoughts?
Well, I knew about it a few weeks ago, so maybe I sort of dealt with it then. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm with you. I think it's a good decision. I think if the ownership group, because fundamentally it's going to be them funding it, not the football club. I think we've got to start trying to think of a future where the men's team and the women's team are peers in the organisation. Clearly, one will be playing at top flight of world football, or whatever. But and therefore, the funding of it and the funding of the ladies' squad and stuff, and they've got the manager's got an extended contract, so the commitment is there. And if the ownership group continues to walk that talk, and we see our ladies' team performing at the top of WSL rather than sort of middle to bottom half, then people will go. If they get the marketing and the pricing right, people will go. And certainly I'll take my 2 granddaughters. So there.
Yeah, that's
there's
it.
3 of us. Well, my missus will go as well, so there's 4.
I think it's a good opportunity to continue to get young people interested in the game. It has been anyway, going to watch it, but now you've got a more accessible stadium, you could say. Walton Park, obviously, it's gotten a couple stands there now. Easy to get to anyway, but I think people will be more inclined to go watch the women, having it being Goodison. There's no doubt about it. I would be. I was meant to go. I think the only one I've meant to go to was Chelsea at home a couple of years ago, and I think it was postponed or cancelled because of COVID. I'm not sure why. It was meant to be at Goodison. I'd be much more inclined to go, and I will go. It's the same with the international friendlies. England under-21s when they're at Goodison. But I wouldn't go to England international if it was at Wembley. I would if it was at Goodison. Yeah. Had the chance. Listen, we've got a few people waiting. If you are a Premier member or a YouTube member, give us a call. Let us know your best Goodison memories, and we'll jump straight into them. We'll start with Nick. I think Nick's been waiting. I'm sure you don't know Astro. If you don't, Astro used to do our Astro fan reaction. It used to be Everton fan reaction or Patron Premier reaction. Then it was just Astro. He was that good. So I'm really excited to hear from Astro. Astro, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I got you loud and clear.
How's yourself, Astro?
Can you hear me? What's that?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good.
Hi,
no
Nick,
frogs
how are you,
this
mate?
time.
No frogs. A little bit of delay, which that can only make it more comical, but I'm sure we'll get there.
No, I'm all right. I figured last home match at Goodison, I had to call in for nostalgia's sake, and say a few words, but mainly just great to hear. I'm just lucky. It's serendipitous. I caught you there, Ned, and John. Always a pleasure, mate. Sorry I haven't been in touch. It's been a tumultuous 5 months for me and mine. So yeah. So it's good stuff.
How are you settling into England then? Living here,
yeah,
I mean.
Yeah. I was actually going to surprise everybody at the Man United match and show up out of the blue. But I got very ill.
Oh dear.
I got really sick. Ended up almost in hospital. The climate didn't agree with me at first. But obviously missing that match, staying close to home. It's from where I'm at, out in the ether, out in the North Yorkshire moors. It's a 4-hour train ride to Goodison Park with 2 or 3 changes, and as I've learned, that's a long road to hoe when you on the rail system over here right now, because trains just be stopping for all kinds of reasons. So you never know what you're gonna get. But yeah, no, I was absolutely gutted when I heard that obviously that I was gonna miss the last season at Goodison. A match at the last season at Goodison, especially being closer than I have been in a decade. I found my oldest, most recent match ticket was from April of 2014. We beat West Ham at Goodison 1-0, and that's one of my Goodison memories. The other that John can probably say, "Yep, I remember that," was when the Joker jumped out of the park end and tethered himself to the penalty, or not, well, not to the penalty, but to the goalpost, protesting against Ryanair the night we were playing Manchester City on transfer deadline night when Yelovich and Pinar returned in 2012. That was pretty wild.
Oh, have we lost him?
Yeah.
Connection into.
He has to go for a walk around the Yorkshire Moors, doesn't he?
So we'll get Nick back ASAP. That 1-0 West Ham. Can you remember the goal scorer?
I don't remember.
I think I can.
Well, you better had now, haven't you?
I think it was
an audience.
I think it was Lukaku. 'Cause I sat in the family enclosure. I think it was Lukaku. I may be wrong.
What?
Lukaku or Baines' pen. We think a year later we drew them 1-1. McCarthy got man of the match. Lukaku might have scored in that game, and I think that
Got
season,
lots of thinks here.
14-15, pretty sure it was Lukaku. Might be wrong. There's only one way to find out. Why we just wait to get Nick back on? The little plug.
You're waffling. Go for it.
Last night, 8 p.m, Abdullah Corey interview. Exclusive interview. He reveals all what he's doing next season. Check it out. It's a really good interview. I watched it myself last night.
You enjoy it?
It was really good.
He's
back.
moved.
He's back. Nick,
Great.
sorry, we lost you
Nick,
then
we
for
lost
a
you,
minute.
mate.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that sometimes you have to go to grow, and it's time for Everton to go, to leave the Terror Dome and to go to the Shattered Dome over on the Mersey and defend L4 from the Premier League kaiju to crawl up out of the water. So it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time, and it's a great time to be an Evertonian. There's a bit of hopefulness and enthusiasm that's been absent, but it's exciting, and it's bittersweet, and I'm quite gutted that I'm not going to get back for one last proper Premier League match, but I'll get to a ladies match. I'll get to hopefully a match at Bramley Moore sometime in the near future, and you guys are cracking out some incredible work, and long may the Toffee TV reign of success continue. That's pretty much it.
That's it, isn't it, Nick? I was saying to John about the opportunities the women move into Goodison. It gives people another opportunity to go up and see it. Some people might not be as privileged to go to a Premier League game. They might, obviously in your circumstance, you might not be able to make the last Premier League game. Tickets are very expensive. There's a lot of Evertonians all around the world, like yourself, come from America. There's plenty of Evertonians that obviously aren't able to get to this last game. They might have gone to previous games before this season, just got to have the last game. But obviously not everyone gets that chance, or to get another chance for a full season to watch the Women's Super League as well, which obviously it's a growing league, it's a growing sport as well, the women's side of the game. It might open some people's eyes as well as to how good of a league it is and how good of a sport it is, the women's side of it as well. And it encourages people to go up there as well. If it's they've missed out, but it's another opportunity, gives people that one more chance. People might be more inclined to go up to Goodison. But obviously, Nick, you've been an Evertonian for a long time. Though you mentioned 2014, the last Goodison trip. Can you remember the goal scorer in that 1-0 game? Was it Lukaku?
It was Romelu Lukaku. It was Lukaku
Boom.
off of a header into the Glady Street.
I know. Well, I said it was either Lukaku or a Baines pen. It was
late on, wasn't it? I think 10 minutes from the end or something.
Late. It was very late on. Yes, very late on. Yeah.
I remember the game because I was sat there slagging him off at the top, going, he's rubbish when he's up front isolated. You need someone near him. And then he scored at the end. I'm going, he's great on his own.
Allardyce would have been their manager then.
No. We still had Martinez.
He'd have been their manager, yeah. 14-15.
Yeah, it was Roberto was our manager, wasn't he? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, Martinez was still ours. Yeah, and Sam would have been.
School of Science was still on its way back. Yeah.
Can you remember your first game, Astro?
That was Fulham in 2011. Yeah, Fulham 2011 in March. Yeah, it was 2-1. 2-1 Everton win. Yeah. We've Seamus Coleman and Louis Saha scored, and Clint Dempsey scored for Fulham. So, yeah.
Clint Dempsey.
Yeah. It was great. Like I actually, Baz drove me to the match. Sat with Dave and they sorted a stadium tour for me. and that's what sets Everton apart. It's the family, and like it doesn't matter where your family goes as long as your family's together. It's good. And I think that Evertonians are together. I think everybody's firing on all cylinders, and there's like a genuine excitement and anticipation about the potential of what could be about to start happening, of moving in the right direction with purpose, with task and purpose. And I think that's really important, for us as an organization. But yeah.
Well, obviously, it's no secret that you're coming from America. You didn't grow up in that position where Everton was your only club, and that was the choice because it was your dad's club, and it was down the road from you. So what for you? And I'm sure the stadium has a big part of it. And if it is the stadium, tell us why. What sets Everton apart, away from the other clubs in the Premier League? Is it because of that factor you feel when you go to Goodison? You can feel how different it is to other clubs.
There's Everton, and then there's everybody else. In my mind, it is the way I was welcomed into the fold, and I wasn't just like, oh yeah, you can be a part of this. I was educated. Baz, people like Baz and Ped and John Blaine and Dave Freely, they educated me on what it meant to be an Evertonian. And it just simply means more, because when you have a place like Goodison, it's on the level for a person who grew up in the States to a Fenway Park. If there was a ground the New York Dodgers played in, the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Polo Ground. These older stadiums that have so much history. There's just it's a hallowed ground with a storied history, and it's an electric environment. When Goodison Park is on fire, I swear to God, if you could like view energy from space, Goodison Park would be visible from Venus when it gets fired up, baby. I mean, it would illuminate the cosmos with energy if you could see it. If it was like a visible spectrum, you know what I'm saying? And that's what sets it apart. There's Everton and there's everybody else. I mean, I can't. It's something that like I actually have to say, like moving back here and not being able to get to the ground has actually been really hard for me. It's been upsetting to be so close, but yet to be so far away. But you have to take care of your most important issues first, and obviously my important issues are my family and my son and being settled, and a lot of other issues. But yeah, I tell you what, like there's Everton and there's everybody else. And Goodison Park, like I said, sometimes you have to go in order to grow. And you take with you who you are, and what Everton is, and what Everton has always been is first and foremost her fans, her supporters, the people that go every week, the people who provide that energy, that atmosphere, that excitement, that just that essential piece of everything. And as long as the supporters are there, and as long as they spur Everton to be what it needs to be, that the math of that equation will never stop working.
Absolutely. Will you be heading to the new stadium, Nick?
You know what? I would really like to. If I'm still allowed to be in the country when it opens, and that's a whole nother issue for another day, and certainly not in the wide open forum. But yeah, if I'm still here and the creek don't rise, I will be at the new stadium somehow, some way, by hook or by crook next season. Guaranteed. Bang. Brilliant. On, I will be there. Yeah.
I've got the same issue.
I may start doing the match reactions again, but since I've had a change of scenery at the beginning of the year, I don't want to frighten my neighbors. They don't know about big gold. They don't know about walking that aisle. They don't know about to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo! They don't know, and I just can't go about breaking it off in them like that. We gotta ease them into it. So, I got to be nice. I got to be a good neighbor first before I go out in the yard and start doing Everton reactions.
I just ease them into it every now and again. Just give a little woo over the fence or something, or a little kiss stealing, wheeler dealing.
I'm telling you, if you hear that howl out on the North Yorkshire moors, baby, it ain't Werewolves of London. It ain't the Beast of Bognor Regis.
Just start putting the belt
out. Woo!
Just start putting the belt on the washing line. Go and see that belt. Did you bring the belt with you?
The belt's in storage, mate. We haven't actually gotten our household goods yet. We've been living out of a suitcase or suitcases for the last 5 months. But Big Gold is secured, and it
Big
is in the
Gold.
country. It's just in a warehouse right now. So,
The next time I see it, Astro, I want to see Big Gold around your waist. Astro, it's been a pleasure speaking to you again. You're an absolute legend. Hopefully,
It's my pleasure.
Astro
It's my
reaction
pleasure.
will
Ned,
return one day.
Yeah, Ned, so good to speak to you, John. Again, always a pleasure. And we will speak again soon, my friend, offline.
Good one.
Perfect.
Sooner
Astro,
rather than
take
later.
care, mate.
Later, guys.
Take care.
See you
Toffees,
later.
baby.
Up the Toffees.
So we got Eddie, have we?
There we go.
Patient Eddie.
Astro. Eddie's left.
Eddie's left, so it's Fletcher now.
Fletcher. We'll get Fletcher on in more moment. Let's just
There's
get
no
some.
show without
We'll do
Fletcher
some
anyway,
comments
is
before we get Fletcher on. Hopefully, Astro is still here next year to visit the new stadium. Hopefully for the same himself. Wales have already tried to ban me, because of the seagulls. Went down and dealt with a few of them seagulls. I'm gonna go to Brighton next and deal with a few of them. Few comments. Let's take a look. Bob said, "I hope Sunderland go up."
Yeah, me too.
Hayo Ted said Sunderland won in the most Everton way last night. Yeah, I like Sunderland, like a proper club, big club, sizable stadium. They've had it rough with some questionable decisions from previous owners. I'm sure a lot of people have watched Sunderland Till I Die. I've not watched the latest series yet. The previous ones, some of the decisions they made was no wonder they were in such trouble and went down to League One. But glad to see him do well. I'm gutted for Frank Lampard, but they'll only get better. Look at where they were at the start of the season. Where were they when he took over? 18th.
Yeah, they were looking at relegation, really.
8 or 9 games on the bounce, incredible.
They should have won last night. Oh, well, they looked like they should have won.
I'm gutted for him, but
Ran out of steam.
I think the best team to beat them for me was Sunderland, because I really like Sunderland, and hopefully they can come up and take a few points off Newcastle. Let me take a look. Ian Barron, very good evening everyone, hope you are very well, hope you are too, Ian. James says, hi John, Ned, are you still fighting the Eagles? They've learnt the lesson now, to be honest. Philip Price, nice to see Ned back on Toffee TV. L4 know the score says Ned Zilla. Mark, can I see about that? Hello. Johnny, hello from Hong Kong, lads. Last time I was at Goodison was the 5-1 defeat against Brighton. Was that not the 4-1 where Gray scored a penalty? The 4-1, was it 5-1? I think it was 4-1. I think Lampard
was
was
5-1 like 2 seasons ago, didn't he?
4-1 in January. Lampard was the manager. We beat them 5-1.
No, but I think more recently than that. I'll try and find it.
They beat us 3-0. They beat us 4-1. I don't think they beat us 5-1. Surely not.
What was the score of the game where when Holgate got brought on, he got booed at Goodison? That was against Brighton, wasn't it?
That was 1-1, I think. They haven't beat us 5-1 at home. I don't think Brighton's put 5 against us at home. Baz would know.
Oh, Baz would know it.
Baz would have it written down on his arm.
Yeah.
Just in case somebody asks him, he can go, yeah, I remember that, 5-1. David Owens says he hopes Friedkins changes in a big way, so do I. Ian, top man, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get these guys over 100k plus subscribers before the end of the season. They deserve it, absolutely.
11 till
4-1.
900.
Yeah. Well, it was 10 before, but
Yes,
Ned talks too much.
Who's unsubscribed? That happens when you.
It was 4-1.
Yeah.
Lost 4-1 at home.
How do, Ned? Good to see you back. I'm very good, thanks. Yeah, I'm back at 4-1. Just go over to Patreon, Premier, do a couple Premier customer comments, and then we'll get Big Fletcher on. Premier members. I've been servicing Premier customers for my other job, so Ned and Astro, Throwback TV, says Jason. Martin, this is one for John, I suppose. What did you think of the Angus interview? I thought he spoke very well.
I've not seen it because I've been here.
What do you think of the appointment first and foremost?
I think I've said it quite a few times, actually. He's the best qualified stroke experienced chief exec we've had.
Very good experience.
Prior to Winus, which is, we're talking like 25 plus years ago.
Because he's come from a football club.
Well, yeah, he's
as a
from
chief
Leeds,
exec.
and he went to Leeds from West Ham, and he went to West Ham from Arsenal. And if you look at the roles he's had, he's had lots of responsibility at quite a young age, and he's now chief exec of a very big and iconic Premier League football club, and he's late 40s or something.
And hopefully he's got the backing off a good owners as well, and other people on the board. We can only judge them down the line.
The group are certainly going to back him, I would think.
Yeah,
he's going to run the shop. He's not going to get interfered with. He's not going to have a Mashiri tinkering, and he's not going to have a chairperson, trying to do transfers and all sorts of things.
Exactly.
And so it'll all be on him, and I'm sure he's up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, last comment before we get Fletcher on. Danny says top 3 games. Number 1, Bayern. Number 2, Andy King's winner against Liverpool. Number 3, 4-1 against Sunderland. Andy King's winner against Liverpool in 79.
What's this?
Andy King's winner against Liverpool.
Oh, God, yeah.
79.
I don't know.
Late 70s, something like that.
Yeah.
Number 3, 4-1
I
against
think the
Sunderland.
Andy Johnson Merseyside game is Derby is good.
3-0, yeah, 2005, yeah.
Only because I sit in the park end and the goalkeeper happily threw one up in the air from
for the third goal, the ball come down, and Pepe Reina went to grab Andy Johnson's head, thinking it was the ball, and the ball's there, and he goes like, and he goes, oh, brilliant, yeah. He clearly thought it was Andy Johnson's head.
Happy days, yeah.
Fletcher Birch, is that correct? Let's get Fletcher on.
Oh.
Hello, Fletcher. How are you?
All right, then. How's it going, mate? You all right?
I'm not so bad, mate. How's yourself?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm absolutely dandy. I just wanted to take a moment to just sort of just taking the moment, really, that it's the last ever game at Goodison Park at the weekend.
It is, yeah.
And, like, it's just going to be the end of an era, isn't it?
Mm. I think there's a reason. Yeah, I think there's a reason why it's an area, because people look up to it in terms of like it's got character and it's got style and it's old fashioned. So it is very much an end of an era.
And let it all ignite.
Exactly.
It's going to be a long day.
I'm impressed with Everton Football Club, to be honest. Keeping the foundations of Goodison Park together, and offering the stadium to the women. At first, I was kind of like, "Oh, is that really necessary?" But from a fan point of view, from a fan base point of view, I think it would only increase the fan support and the merchandising and just the overall facility of the club, really, just in terms of revenue.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned like merchandise and stuff there. We don't know the ins and outs of the finances, but the club would have looked at it from a financial aspect. Of course, they would have, just to see if it was feasible. And if they can see some way of that, it's commercially positive,
viable
on the company, on the club, just from a business point of view, then absolutely why not? And then from exactly, but then from another point of view, when you look at it from like a marketing, Everton women, Goodison Park, it's great for the women's side of it.
The women's sport in general, I think that is a fantastic achievement. If the women's football club, if the Everton Women's Football Club can fill that revenue, fill the ground, fill the support base, I think that from an Everton women's point of view, I think that's a fantastic opportunity for them, really.
Well, if you look at the history, it's got,
heritage, isn't it? It's part of football.
Exactly. At times, it's at the best team in the world playing it in terms of like Everton in the 80s, 60s, the best club. It's had best players in the world like Pele playing it. Brazil in the '66 World Cup was it played in it.
Yep.
The history it's got, for that to be a part of the Super League and exclusive to the Women's Super League, is something for the Women's Super League as well. Obviously, they've got Emirates, but it's not exclusive to the Women's Super League. Goodison Park's going to be exclusive to that league, and that league is only growing. You see the traction it's getting now, just in social media. I think the Baller League, being as weird as it is, has made it even get more traction, because there's something else to slag off now, isn't it, with the Baller League?
It's the highest capacity ground in the country for women's as well, Goodison Park. Wouldn't it be the biggest capacity?
Well,
so it won't be the biggest capacity being used.
Arsenal's ladies play at the Emirates.
Yeah, but it might be the biggest exclusive one to
dedicated.
Dedicated to the club.
That's
it's the women's ground.
Exactly. It's their ground.
Everton men will have their own stadium.
Something else.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right, Fletcher. I think what you bang on in terms of what it does for the club and commercially, and it's obviously it's how can you say it's a bad thing?
Exactly.
I think you can really say exactly.
It's good to keep Goodison Park open at the end of the day, even if it's just for the women's. Like it's going to do for the women's. It's going to bolster their efforts in terms of competing, as well as having the new stadium on the horizon. if Everton Football Club are on the up, aren't they?
Well, yeah, exactly. You got to look at the wider picture as well. Fletcher, I don't know if you heard Astro before. Astro's come from America. He just moved to the UK. Not got a chance to go to the last game of the Premier League.
Yeah,
he's got a young son there. He's only a toddler, but there's people like Astro and other people who won't be able to get to the game. They've got a window opportunity now for take their children who can really fall in love with Goodison. And they go, wait till you see the men's stadium. This is just the women's. Wait till you see the men's stadium.
That might be quite undermining in terms of Bramley Murdoch's potential having.
No, not at all. I think it's a good gateway because if you don't forget how expensive for some people, especially people in the city, it's no secret, it's no lie, Fletch. There's probably people who can't afford a Premier League game at the new stadium, not even at Goodison Park. There's people, in care, Everton, the community, look after a lot of kids who don't have the privilege to go and watch the games. So there's people who get a chance there to go watch. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper to go watch a Women's Super League game at the minute at Goodison Park if they can use that as a gateway to get in and to enjoy football and fall in with football. Exactly. And then obviously they can get onto Everton men, and then obviously at some point when opportunities arise, they can go and watch the men as well. But it's just something a little bit. Walton Hall Park's been great facility for the women.
And I just wanted to congratulate Toffee TV as well, if I may. I congratulate them on the fantastic interview you had with Adelaide Corey last night. I think it was absolutely fascinating. It was a great insight to what it's like to be one of Everton's key players at the club.
Good one, thanks, Fletch.
Yeah, thanks, Fletch. Obviously, I think Baz nailed it, to be honest, and he got everything. Yeah. Nailed right. It was a really good interview. He's a very good interviewer. Yeah. He's really good.
What is it? He's nation's housewife lover, isn't he?
The housewife's favourite. Whether he's a nationwide favourite, I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't put it up there as a nationwide favourite.
James would say without the researcher, then Decore wouldn't have been here. Yeah,
that's it.
The light goes on and Baz does his stuff, but
Ped might just ask him what his favourite film is, and that's all great. But sometimes we want to know if he'll play there next season.
But it was just really interesting. I found watching it last night just to get an insight into what it's like to be an Everton player at a time like this, because obviously with the summer changes coming in, and obviously the big massive clear out that we're going to have to do in the summer. To have a sense of optimism at a time like this, and have that sense of belonging, and to have that sense of just intrigue into what's going on in the inner workings of the club. To have Adelaide Corey there, I think the timing of it was spot on, fellas.
Mm. Absolutely, yeah, and obviously, I think from his point of view, he'd want to use this as time to speak to Everton fans. Whether he's leaving at the end of the season, we still don't know yet.
To do that.
Exactly.
TV is a fantastic platform to speak to Everton fans and to get to know all things Everton, basically.
It's the biggest, Fletch, the biggest platform you could possibly speak on.
I think it hopefully, Abdoulaye doing this, he'll go back to the dressing room, tell his mate what a great time he had. Said that Ped's not as scary as people think he is. Yeah, we had an off-the-record conversation about match, ratings and all, player ratings and stuff like that. And maybe some of the others will have the nerve to stick their head above the parapet and
I'd like to see
come and have a coffee.
Come in, whether or not that would be a good idea. I mean, whether or not it's achievable. But I'd love to hear from Jordan Pickford on the channel, and maybe even Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But we'll see, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an argument for pretty much every player would have something to say that we'd all want to hear. Yeah. Everyone from Seamus, who's been around since year.
Michael Keane.
Forget Michael Keane. Michael Keane's dropped. Sorry.
I think he's a nice guy, though.
Now everybody thinks he's a hero. No, he's a shit sorry, I shouldn't be swearing, but he's a shit footballer. He looks dazed on the pitch and he doesn't concentrate and focus in matches. He's not on the ball. Honestly, mate,
thought he played very well again.
We'll not get into that now, Fletch. But I think he's a nice fella.
I think Fletch has firm views on.
Yeah, I think he's a nice lad. What I would say, based on, I think you'd have a fourth-choice Premier League defender. It probably.
Yeah, I know it's good to have a fourth choice, especially with David Moyes' style of play, etc.
Yeah.
I heard the points of view on it this afternoon on the Daily Live, but I just think Michael Keane, he doesn't deserve to. I don't think he deserves to wear an Everton shirt.
That's fair enough. That's your opinion, Fletch.
I
That's
think
fair
it's a bit
enough.
extreme,
That's,
Fletch, but
listen, we're entitled to our own opinion. But what I was going to say is, I think he'd be a good I think it'd be a good interview, and that's it for now. But we'll leave it there with Michael Keane anyway. Fletch, obviously, I think someone mentioned whether, I don't know who you support, if it's Burnley or Everton.
Well, I've got a lot of family from Burnley.
He gave it away on one of the
right.
calls.
Everton is my pride and joy.
So
Everton, my dad was a Blue. My local team growing up was a Blue. Like, well, is a Blue.
Fletch, mate. When you were on Club Call, you said at the end of the day, I'm a Burnley fan.
I said I've got a soft spot for Burnley. I've got a little.
You're lucky we haven't prepared the clip to play back at you.
I've got a little soft spot for Burnley as well, to be fair. But Fletch,
he set the record straight now. His number one is.
You said you've pride and joys Everton.
Absolutely.
Last game on Sunday. Have you got, if I say to you, best memory at Goodison Park, have you got a particular game? It might be an Everton-Burnley game. Have you got a particular memory in mind?
Yeah, definitely. Basically, I won tickets for the Everton West Ham game when Roberto Martinez was manager. I won tickets, and I think it might have even been David Moyes' last season, to be fair. But like I just remember, I think
what was the score?
It might have been Jelavic who scored the winner, but we did win the game. Like, it was a bit. I just remember the atmosphere and the crowd of it all, and being part of it, and being part of, like I just said, then the atmosphere being buzzing basically, and it just being like an English rose in modern football basically, and it's very traditional. Do you know what I mean? It's not like any other stadium. It's very traditional. It's harping back to the years gone by, and I think we missed that in modern society quite a lot. So to have that in place is a breath of fresh air. So I'm only happy that when the Everton women get to keep that and bring it forward in their own way, whilst we go for it in terms of what we can achieve in Bramley Moordock.
Well, you mentioned the West Ham game there as well. Can you remember the score? Was it 2-0?
It might have been 2-0, yeah.
Jelavic scored. Most probably would have been. I think Martin's first season, Jelavic was on loan at Hull City, if I'm not wrong. So I think that might have been Moyes, yeah.
It was a long time ago, like.
Yeah. Kevin Maloney in the comments says Fletcher's trying to recruit Keane to Burnley.
He would be good for one of the promoted teams.
That'd be a good fit, to be fair.
Well, he's played for them before, hasn't he? But listen, Fletcher, have you got anything else you want to say?
No, that's it, mate. I think I'm good for now. Nice talking to you, Ned.
Fletcher, it's been nice to talk to you again. It's been a while, my mate.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Glad to see you, and thank you for your time, John. I appreciate it. All the best.
No worries, mate. Take care.
Take care, Fletch.
Cheers,
Speak to you soon.
Bye now. Bye for now.
We got any more callers? Eddie is back. We'll go straight into Eddie then. We'll get Eddie on, then we'll do some comments
afterwards. Going up slowly. That's good.
Yeah, we've had 3.
6 to go.
Yeah. Hello, Eddie, mate. You okay?
Yeah. Good. How are y'all doing?
Not so bad, mate. How's yourself?
I'm pretty good. Just dying in the summer heat, but it's all good.
Gosh. I hope that's nothing that needs. You don't need any extra support.
Serious. It's like, it's like 100 degrees here this entire week.
100 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
What's that? 35 degrees Celsius. 35.
Yeah.
Ish.
It's tough outside, but
I couldn't deal with that.
Yeah, I know. But
well, it's
the
50.
reason I wanted to call. What was that?
I said, wait till it gets up to 50. Yeah.
Nah, I don't. Nah.
I used to live in Riyadh, and it was 50 in the summer. So.
Yeah. Luckily, that doesn't happen here.
No, crazy. Still hot though, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like I had a soccer game Monday and it was dreadful to play, but it is what it is. But the reason I wanted to call was I don't know if you guys would know this or have an answer to this. Do y'all know why we don't know like the actual like contracts or any of that information of like the soccer players in the Premier League because like in the US, like, you know, like you can Google any like professional athletes like salary, and like you can find all that information. And
Yeah,
like you can find out their extensions and options and the bonuses if you wanted to.
yeah.
But
Well,
why is
Because they're not
that
published.
not-
Yeah.
They're not published here. They're just not.
To see a contract here in the UK, it's data protected confidential information, so we don't publish them. There's reports of what people are on. I don't know how that differs to America.
No. I think far more transparent in the States, and I think that's Eddie's point. You can literally know exactly what players are earning, but they don't do it here, my friend. Just don't do it. And in fact, don't do it in Europe. It's not just England or the UK. It's just not the done thing. They're private contracts between players and football clubs. Lots and lots of journalists, stroke outlets, stroke in the nose can get close to pretty much everyone. But nothing formal where you actually know for certain that's exactly what that player gets. No, just don't
would
do it.
y'all think would it be better to know, or do you guys like it the way it is?
I
Like
don't.
not knowing truly know.
I don't have a need to know personally.
Yeah, I think sometimes knowing can have a negative effect on perception. Like with Decore, now there's been.
Yes, that's fair.
I like Decore. I'd like him to stay. And there's been some stuff in the media about his wages. I don't think it matters to us. It shouldn't matter to us to us fans what wages he's on. It should be between him and the club.
Well, there's an interesting, because we use Decore as an example, because obviously he's done stuff on camera and you talk to him off camera, right? And it's readily accepted. And we had someone here before who's nearer to in the know on these matters than we are, and he has a view that it's what most people think it is, which is on or around 120 grand a week. And the man himself says, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And no one knows. All these people accept that it's 120, and the guy who's in receipt of it says, no, it's not.
And then the people who think it's 120 base their agenda about the money he's on.
Yeah.
But nobody goes, oh, he's on 120 grand. Great. It's most of the time they might have a negative spin on it.
Yeah, I don't think we have a need to know. I think clearly as Everton fans in recent times with PSR failures and stuff, then we've sort of become interested in that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not just the wages of the player or the salary of the player, it's the cost of the player, and of course that includes the amortisation of the transfer fee. So when someone says, oh, that guy's on 100 grand a week, that's way too much, let's get rid of him and buy somebody, it ends up costing you could end up costing you twice as much. Paid the transfer fee.
It's ammunition people can use. I'm sure people do it in America as well. If a player's underperforming,
Yeah,
it's ammunition you can use against the player. That doesn't help the player.
It will be fascinating to see, and I'll ask you a question in a minute if I can, and how it works in the States, but if Premier League or indeed football clubs across Europe could get into a performance-related way of paying their players, so you get a basic salary, basic salary, and then you get so much when you start games, you get so much when you appear in games, you get so much when you score goals or when you win points or whatever. What traditionally has happened in this country, and it got worse with Sky and all the broadcast revenues giving football clubs lots and lots and lots of money, is all the basic salaries went up and they get all those kickers as well.
Yeah.
And we all have that view, don't we, of the striker hasn't scored a goal for 5 months but keeps starting the games and keeps collecting a big pay packet, So I'm sure the media would love it if it was all transparent, because they do profiles. James is on 10p a week and he scores 20 goals, and Baz is on $1 billion a week and he doesn't score any.
You'd have to look at the reports when players like Salah and Van Dijk signed their contract. It's all look at the money they're on. Remember when Didier Drogba, I can't remember where he was going to, and all over Sky it was on 400 grand a week, 400 grand a week. But
people do get obsessive, but that's just driven by media interest.
I suppose people just like to
And I
know
just saw
things,
a
don't they?
thing that's saying Laporte is thinking of ending his contract in Saudi Arabia, and the headline, because he doesn't get on with the manager. He probably found the culture a bit difficult as well. But the headline is, third most highly paid centre-back in the world to sever ties with his club. Because the thing that drags clickbait is he's on 400 grand a week.
Yeah.
So
the journalists would love to know, reporters love to know. On a personal scale, I don't like not when I'm on 60 grand a year.
How much do you earn, Eddie?
I earn about without bonuses, around 80K a year.
Yeah, but I guess most people wouldn't have answered the question, so well done you for answering it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
I heard Eddie was going to offer me a job with the same money
I
on.
have to drive a Ford Runner up to Chicago.
God.
But anyway, my real question for you, my friend, was going to be in NFL and the other American sports. Whilst you all know what the big deals that these guys sign, hundreds of millions of dollars over 10 years or something, is it totally transparent? Do you know exactly how that's made up, whether it's all guaranteed or whether it's performance related or signing on bonuses and all of the above? Or do you just know that guy's got a 10-year contract on $250 million?
No, it's very detailed. Like,
is it really?
Find, like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, you can find like all that type of information because like there's like in the NFL, like there'll be like towards the end of the season, there's like performance bonuses that like all the media knows and like everyone knows.
Wow.
So they'll be like talking about it in the commentary, like, oh, this guy needs like 2 more catches and he'll get like an extra $500,000.
Wow.
If he can get 2 catches, and it's like
That's
reach,
crazy.
like, his bonus threshold. So
That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
That'd be a nightmare for the player though. Imagine getting home. You've just got a nice $5,000 in your back pocket. I'll spend that on a new car, and then your missus goes, "Are you taking me on holiday? You've got a bonus." You'd go, "What the hell do you know?"
Imagine.
She'd be like, "Buy me something nice." I'd be like, "Piss off."
Well, imagine Mo Salah's got the ball, right? And he can pass it to Ned for a tap-in and get a bonus of £100,000.
Yeah.
Or he can score himself and get £200,000. Which one's he going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Score, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. I mean, it does have
It
its
is,
negative idea because like I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, and like over the offseason we signed a player to like 5-year $90 million contract.
Wow.
And he's like really bad. Like,
oh dear.
Like, so he's getting a lot of flack for being like underperforming his contract.
Is he paid as much as you, Eddie?
No, he gets way more than me.
With 3 more zeros on the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it's crazy because, and I do feel bad for him, but it's really it's I guess in the U.S. it's more important to know because we do trades, like, and it's you have to match money in a lot of sports.
Oh, okay.
So you have to like know the value, like how much they're making to make trades work, which in England and like in European football, it's all about transfers. Like you just buy a player instead of trading players.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was the only thing I really wanted to like
Good
understand
man.
why there's.
Nice to hear from you again.
Eddie,
Yeah.
we've got a couple others waiting, but before we let you go, we'll ask you one more question. If I say the words Goodison Park, what's the first game that comes to mind? Or first memory? It doesn't have to be a game.
I've never been to Goodison Park, sadly. I hope to go to Bramley more next year over the summer, or not over the summer, but during the season, and then go to a game in Goodison, like a women's game, hopefully, and then I can do both in like a week or something. But the best memory I've had was probably the Wayne Rooney hat trick.
West Ham.
Yeah,
halfway line.
That was
Why 3 West Hams?
Yeah, I don't know. West Ham's just a good opponent to go against.
We just batter West Ham so much that everyone calls up and goes, "Oh, we battered West Ham one time, surely, didn't we?" Yeah, yes, we did. Every season.
Yeah.
Apart from when Moyes was the manager.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Take care, my mate.
Take care.
See you later. Do a couple of comments and then we'll get on to Mick. I think Mick's waiting, isn't he? We'll let Mick wait too long to read a couple of comments. Let's have a look. 5 subs to 999,900. Just butchered that, didn't I? 99,900. There's 3 to go actually currently. Let's take a look. MK says best memory, first match with my mum and dad at the night game in 2013 FA Cup 3rd round. Moyes was the manager. January. Can you remember who it was? I definitely can't.
Games in the past are just that, my friend.
Oh, sorry. Baz would have it written down on his leg.
For you while you're filling in.
Baz would be like, yeah, I remember that. Let me look for it on my leg. Gilly the Lemon says, I love you, Ned. Thank you. Ian Murphy missed the start of this. Great to see Ned making John 2. 105 subs to 100,000. Let's get the channel to 100k before Sunday. Carl says, don't fall for red flares on Sunday. Copycat FC will want to get their own back. I didn't think of that. Bob says, can't wait for Sunday. Do a couple Premier member comments and then we'll get on to Mick.
We didn't play an FA Cup game in January 2013.
Jake Hamblett says, Ned, hello. He's not asked me to play footy for a while. He did last week, actually. I'm expecting a message back, Jake. Mike Crass has sounded good to me. They said all the right things in regards to Angus, the new CEO. Ian the Blue says, my first memory is going to Goodison for the first time in 1973. David Lawson in goal. I was hooked instantly. The best was Bayern Munich at 85 at Goodison, smashing Manure 5-0. Also, Pat scoring at Carrow Road in 87 to
win the
clinch
league.
the title again.
Yeah.
Boss. Right, we'll get on to Mick.
Should return. Hello, Mick.
Hello, Mick. Hello, Mick. Can you hear me now?
Let's go to Annabelle then.
Sats in his car. We'll come back to Mick. We'll go to Annabelle if Annabelle's available.
2 in a row. Sounds like it's our technician.
Ian Barry and I liked the time. Big Neville Southall sat in the goal post. Oh, is this Annabelle?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, Annabelle. How's yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Very good.
I just wanted to say about the fact that Goodison Park is going to be used by the women's team. I know a lot of people are very upset and think it detracts from the memories of this being the last season. But the fact is that this is the last season for the men's team. And the women weren't playing there in 1892. So that is a clear cut in our history. Moving to a different stadium, it doesn't detract at all. And I think it's fantastic that the women are going to get such a fantastic venue exclusively for them.
I completely and utterly agree. Absolutely right. It's the end of an era, but it's the start of a new one for the women's team at the same time.
Yeah. Sorry, Annabelle.
Sorry. In business terms, it makes brilliant sense. Instead of renting further places for the women to play and having to upgrade facilities constantly of places we do not own, Goodison Park is still owned by us. We can make more money and the women can have a better future, a future that the women's team deserves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I spoke to Fletcher about it before, and it's more like, for me, it's an opportunity for the wider fan base as well. I put Everton fans before anyone else, or future Everton fans. If you can, and I said it to Fletcher, if you can get an opportunity to make people fall in love with Everton, and it might not people who necessarily can afford to go to a Premier League game at the new stadium, there's an opportunity there to see Goodison Park. Imagine you saying to your lad, this stadium's great, you should have seen the last one, Goodison. Is it still open? Yeah, well, the women play there. Do you want to go? Yeah, go on. It's history you can pass down to your son. It's a chance for people to go and see them playing Goodison. It's a chance for people to get involved in the women's game as well. It's surely beneficial for the women's team having them playing Goodison. How many people have been to games at Goodison but haven't been Walton Old Park because they're more inclined to go and sit in Goodison because it's familiar territory? I'd absolutely go and watch the women in Goodison Park, more so than I would in Walton Old Park. So I think commercially and for the sport as well, it's huge, especially for the women. What a privilege to have such a storyful stadium as part of the exclusive to the Women's Super League as well.
I also think it's fantastic that we get to keep the heritage of the fact that it is the world's first purpose-built football stadium going.
True. Very true. And I think it's both a bold and almost like an expectant decision, because on one hand, because the previous ground, in the park, the lease is finished, so they have to make a decision. And they could so easily have said, well, we will upgrade that. And Annabelle's quite right. We'd have spent our money updating and upgrading and improving someone else's facilities. And now they can say, well, no, actually, exactly what you just said, Annabelle. Here is the world's first purpose-built football stadium that's had so many firsts of its own right. It's had World Cups. You talked about Pelé before. Its history is just astonishing. And now there's great opportunity to do the building of a really competitive women's team who host games in an iconic stadium.
Yeah.
We may find that other teams, girls and ladies, look forward to going to Goodison because of all that history.
And it's the women's stadium.
Yeah. And so the follow-up to all that needs to be invest in the team just as much, upgrade the facilities. I don't think as Goodison stands right now, that's the way it's going to be in a couple of years. But everything from the changing rooms upwards really need to be improved. But invest in the team, market the place properly to encourage me, which I will anyway, but to take my two granddaughters, a rites of passage as, when you're a little toddler, and I don't want the little girls listening to effing and jeffing from the lad who's had 10 pints in the boozer and is upset that Michael Keane's starting, blah, 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 yeah? And the price and the costs and all those sorts of things. I mean, the opportunity is almost unlimited, and let's see our ownership group and our fans try and walk that talk.
Yeah, and look at the respect it puts on the women's side of it as well. The Everton women gave that stadium to the women. It's the Goodison Park, the women. It's great for the Super League. It's great for the women's sport. It's great for the women's. What a privilege for that to be their stadium.
Yeah.
When obviously you can go to Arsenal, go to Emirates. It's not their stadium. It's great that the women play in there, of course, but you go to Goodison, it's their stadium, it's their home.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, on Football Focus, Rachel Brown-Finnis spoke about the honour of being out on the pitch at Goodison Park when she was there playing with Everton, and the fact that players like Eusebio and Pelé and Alan Ball and Dixie Dean had been on the same pitch, and that is something that it gives women that impetus to go out there and go, we're just as good. Our football is just as good.
No, absolutely. Like we said before, having a stadium with such history and it's an iconic stadium in the Super League. It's now exclusive to the women's sport. You've got the oldest venue still going with the name it's got in the women's sport, exclusive to the Super League.
As you said, Ned, I'm one of those people that doesn't get to go to Goodison Park very often. I've been a lot more than possibly other people, and I am, still in the same country, but because of illness, I hardly ever get to go. And to be able to still have that, because I did go up for my tour this month.
Oh, excellent.
That was very special, even though as a wheelchair user there's lots of places I can't get to in it. But that was very special. But the idea now that I can still go back there has really uplifted me and makes me feel so happy.
Well, that's another opportunity. We spoke about the opportunities that arise. You mentioned business-wise, Annabelle, before. Opportunity for the sport. And I mentioned, obviously, opportunities for the fans as well. It is that sort of there's different things. You mentioned, obviously, disability there, which it can be a lot more accessible for someone to go to the women's game where there might be only 15,000 there rather than 40,000 in around the ground. There's going to be more than 40,000 there on Sunday, certainly. So there's other opportunities. That obviously we had Astro, first caller, just moved here from America, hasn't quite got the chance to go up to Goodison. He's got that in the future. There's people who might they might have a toddler or a baby, not quite old enough yet, but they know, by the time next season, when the women are still in Goodison, I can take my toddler and introduce them to Goodison before I can take the new stadium. Because if we go to the new stadium, you don't have that bond with the new stadium yet, which you can pass on to your son. Where with Goodison Park, this is where I came to watch Everton when I was your age. This is where I sat, where we're sitting now. And your daughter,
and
exactly.
Your
granddaughter.
And your niece.
I'd take my pet dog if I was allowed, to be honest, John. Or my lizard.
Oh, you've still got lizards?
Yeah, of course I've got lizards. Disown my children, John. But no, Annabelle, you make a really good point. No, I think it's a really good point.
Excellent. And that last bit was really quite poignant, which is, and Astro, Nick, had a similar thing. He lives physically closer than he's ever lived, but he's been ill. It's a long time on the train, and he just hasn't made Goodison. And in his world, it was going to disappear. Now it's not.
Yeah.
So he gets another crack at it, doesn't he? And his little boy will grow up and hopefully watch the women's team and subsequently the men's team as well, and maybe both.
Yeah.
By then, excellent, really good stuff.
At my credit card. I'm looking at my credit card bill from having done my little trip up to Liverpool, and now looking at hotels for the weekend and thinking, can I, should I?
Yes.
Oh, I really want to.
Go for it.
Just pay for them when you get your statements, because they're not due on your next payment, they're due on the next one, which is 50-60 days away. That's the only advice I'll give you. Don't have to pay for them for 60 days.
Oh, you can tell you work in banking.
Yeah, kind of. No, but Annabelle, it's been great to hear you. Before I let you go, and we'll get back onto Mick as well if he's waiting. Before I let you go, you mentioned obviously you've been to Goodison a few times there. Can you give us your best or favourite memory from Goodison before we let you go, please?
Well, it would be my first game, which was in 1996. It was against Manchester City, the year that they were relegated. We won, I think it was 2-0. But it's because of that overwhelming feeling of having gone into the ground and the goosebumps and feeling like, I'm home. Because it felt so right being there.
And we relegated Man City.
Oh, we contributed.
Well, we definitely contributed to relegating Man City, but I know how you feel, Anna. But I think I was too young to remember my first game. But I feel like it's the earliest memories which we hold fondest.
Well, I used to go to all the Everton games that were around the Midlands, which is where I live. And obviously, I've said before on this channel that my first ever game was in Coventry at Highfield Road when I was 4 years old. So I wasn't a stranger to seeing Everton, and I used to travel all around, like I said, to all the Midlands grounds and go to games. But that was my first ever Goodison experience in 1996.
And what a good one it was!
Bullins Road.
Yeah,
I've just looked it up for you. We won 2-0. Joe Royal was the manager.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe Parkinson and Andy Hinchcliff scored.
Because I also went into...
Big Nev was in goal, so that's something to behold here.
Well, I saw Neville Southall when we were at Wembley as well, playing against Coventry. So I loved that man. I still do. But I also was able to buy my first ever football shirt, because my dad had never allowed me to have a football shirt because I was only a girl.
Only a girl.
Even though he introduced me to football.
Oh.
So when I was there, it was then called the Mega Store. And so
Yes.
I went in and I bought my first ever shirt, which is still hanging in my wardrobe today.
Wow. Superb.
It is like it's obviously mentioned you've been to away games first, but I'm sure you knew the difference between not only like the stadiums but the club, the feel factor you get when you're in Goodison Park at your first game. I didn't really have anything to compare it to because I didn't start going to away games till I was older. But then when you do, it's just like it's. I think that's why when we first talked about moving, where it was like, right, it's really happening now. It's been talking about it for years and years, but when it was really first happening, a worry Evertonians had, certainly a worry I had, was, will it feel the same? I can't speak for the club yet, or the stadium yet, but I'm sure it will be because of the way it's designed, still over the pitch, on top of the pitch, and the main thing is with the same Evertonians, and we're all together, and there's more of us, so I'm sure it will feel the same, in a different way, in a positive way, but no, absolutely, yeah, good answer as well. First game.
I've said it before. fans make the club don't make the fans.
Exactly. Spot on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have a good evening, gentlemen, and thank you
Thank
for
you
allowing
for
me to call
calling
in.
again.
You too, Annabelle. Have a good one. Take care. Hopefully speak soon.
Take care, everybody. Good night.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Right, we'll do some comments. That was lovely words from Annabelle there. And then I think, have we got time for one more?
Yep.
Have we got someone waiting?
Yeah, we got Mick.
We got Mick. I'll do a couple of comments, then we'll get Mick on the show. No more after Mick, that's fine.
Well, if you're not going to come on, you at least hit subscribe.
Yeah, hit
Now 3
subscribe.
away.
Yeah.
Or join YouTube member, you can call in. Or go with the extra mile, join Premier. You get all these exclusives. You get the Abdullah Decor. I watched it before. YouTube lot watched it. 'Cause I'm a Premier member. I'm actually a Premier legend, to be honest, because I worked here. So, but no, you get what's on tonight. Bongos, bingos.
That's out for everyone.
But it's already on
It's already on
Premier.
Shows the Luke Garbutt one.
I might watch that straight after this show. But yeah, join Premier. Honestly, it's I don't even notice it going up my bank. It's £3. Price of a coffee. Chris says, "Hi Ned and John, fantastic show. What do you think of what do you think a season ticket would cost for the women's team?"
Oh, isn't that a question, eh? I don't even know how many games they play in a season, do you?
But there's 12
22.
teams.
Is it 22? So 11 home games.
Yeah, 12
100
teams.
quid? 10 quid a game?
Yeah, Prescott Cables, that isn't it? 100
Maybe
quid.
each adult can bring 1 or 2 kids for free.
Everton
That would be
official members get games for free. I've had a couple of tickets for free.
For women
from
now?
From the women, yeah.
Oh, I
Well,
think
I
they
bought
need
Watnall
to
Park.
charge. Yeah, because it's got their own stadium now.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Goodison Park, most iconic stadium ever.
But yeah, I mean, Ped brought this up almost as soon as it was announced, which was sell season tickets, which is what the question is. You know, and strike while the iron is hot. Do it now. And, you know, if you could have 100 quid for a season ticket for an adult, or maybe a family of 4 type of thing, you know, mum and dad or whatever, or in our case, grandparents and 2 kids, and that season ticket would be 100 quid. People
Or
would be queuing up to do that.
do it for the men's and the women, where
You can
got
always
your
tag a bit onto your man's one. That
well, obviously
allows you to
you've
go
got
to the other one.
your men's one.
It's lobby did.
Do the highest ever tier, the highest ever Everton family member.
Yeah.
Where you get your men's season ticket, your women's season ticket, your official member, all your
above,
website
yeah.
access.
Oh.
A bit like Saints do, like a Saints
Wash your mouth
Saints
out.
member club. St Helens, not
Losers.
Southampton do a member club. You get like women's reserve games and stuff as well. Do the same for Everton.
Go for it, Blues. Come on. Be innovative in marketing this thing.
Wormy Spoon says, "Why has Ned got a tattoo of a sliced lemon?"
Have you?
Yeah,
Why?
it's a band called the Stone Roses.
Is it? Doesn't work if no one knows, though, does it?
People think it's an orange. If someone said, "Have you got an orange?" Because you got an orange, because you got orange head. I said, "Oh, no."
Got the black one.
Which one?
You know, the tower one. Yeah.
Rupert Prince Tower.
Yeah, yeah.
Then my granddad's fingerprints.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Made into a love heart.
You're a softy, aren't you?
I love my granddad.
Yeah. Well then.
Blue Carly, what shirt is that second from the right next to Big Dunks? Donovan. 2010.
London Donovan. Yeah.
I think 2010 or 9 with the triangle half.
Turn it round.
Oh, do you mean that one?
The Cox Sportif. Oh, from the right. Oh, yeah.
That one's...
Because I was looking at my screen.
It's a fake one Ped's got made.
This one.
Yeah, so it's not real. So Liverpool had like an Adidas in the 90s. So I think John Barnes wore that with like the stripes.
Yeah.
And Ped just wanted a concept kit if Everton had Adidas.
I've been Adidas Everton.
Adidas Everton. I'm not a fan of it, but it's interesting. It just looks like a Liverpool top to me.
Because they had that stripes over the corner.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but it's not real. It's like an Everton what if. Right, 6:10, we'll go on to our last caller. We've got Mick, if Mick is still there. Get him on.
99901. Whoever those 3 people were, 4 people rather, well done you. Thank you.
Yeah. Mick, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, lads?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Can mate, yeah.
How's yourself?
I'm good, lads. How are you?
Not
Good.
too bad, thanks.
Thanks for having me on. I had a couple of points I wanted to bring up, but some of the points the callers have brought up have sparked my brain a little bit. First off, I just wanted to know, John, you said earlier you haven't seen the interview from the new CEO. It's just I'm quietly optimistic with the words that are coming out, and it's so easy just to get carried away from all these new. What are your thoughts regarding the new appointments? And for me, obviously, I've been a long fan of the channel and watched it over the years. And the whole the cliche of plan your dive your plan. It seems like we're actually doing that, or we're actually putting some thought or structure in place to put us where we want to be. And I dare I say it, we're actually sounding a bit more professional.
Yeah, I think so. And, and whilst I've not seen Angus talking today, I've spoken to people who know him, and I've done my little bit of research and stuff. And I think, he's could very well be the right man in the right place at the right time. And he's very much a sales and marketing type guy, back in at the start of his career. So he's obviously going to be a good talker and a good guy at being able to express ideas and those sorts of things. And I think that cautious optimism is well founded. I think it's always about, you can do the plan, but then you got to dive it, haven't you, as well? But I think with the ownership group, and we've mentioned them a couple of times today, we know that they put their money where their mouth was at Roma. We know they didn't interfere at Roma until it went a bit squiffy and it needed a bit of, the owners need to come up and clean up the mess. Hopefully they never have to do that here. I know for fact that Angus is going to be left to run the football club, obviously under the hopes and the expectations of the owners, but without any interference. And he's putting around him people he knows and trusts from his past career. And also he's got the people who he's recruited as specialists in their subject as well so far. I think there's more of that to be done. And we're getting that refresh off the field that we expect in the summer is going to happen, on the sporting side. So, yeah, I'm really quite enthused, to be honest, mate.
No, me too, mate. And I think having the manager back like that, I think that was one of our biggest appointments we've made. And
I agree.
I come on a few months ago and spoke to Ped and Baz, and we spoke about Thomas Frank, and I was opting for Moyes, and we were like, listen, either way, it's got to be the right appointment. And I think the freaking groups have set the tone with the first big appointment, and I think it's landed well, it's gone well. The manager's come in, done what we all knew, and got better out of the players that we had, and not to slag off obviously the previous manager, but we all knew that we could have done better, and he's come in and shown that. So it shows that he can get the best out of what he's got. Can we now support him in getting the players he needs in to push us up the table? And he's proven that he's capable of doing that next step, because he's done it for so long with West Ham. And although he had a little bit of money, I don't think he had the kind of money that we may be able to spend in the coming transfer windows. And I think he is the right man for us, especially for the next year or so. And I think if anyone's going to do it, it will be him. And I don't like to get all sentimental, but it's pretty fitting for him to come back, get us safe, and then look to build. And the word standards, just he come in and set it straight away. Even the way he spoke on his pressers, his words on last weekend about it being the biggest game of the season. It is for us, because it's the last game for us at such a monumental home. And he is a blue, isn't he? I know it's quite corny, and I don't like to get involved in too much of that, but it is, and it just seems right and fitting that he's the man to take it into the stadium as well. So the optimism is obviously building. And in the interview today, he mentioned about being bold in his decisions and being able to and making sure that we are. And I think the women's one is exactly that. I think it speaks exactly that. Trying to be the first for the women to go to a proper stadium, trying to remodel an old stadium to. We don't know the details of what they're going to do, but I can't imagine it's going to stay at that capacity. I'd imagine there'll be some works going on due to what we've heard in the past about. Obviously, it needs, the upkeep is too much for us to maintain and stuff like that. So they must think it's going to be profitable for us as a business to keep it. So it's quite exciting to see how they take it and where they take it. And I think we're setting the foundations to step forward. And like you just said there about subject matter experts, John, we're getting experts and specialists in the right positions. It's not just a small board where we don't get anything off, and it's just one fella pulling the strings or jumping in when he doesn't need to. It seems professionally run and clear appointments and clear objectives, hopefully, and that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, you're right, mate, as well. And you mentioned obviously there with like the Moyes coming in. I think for them it was so soon into the Ray and his owners as well. It's I looked at that as more like a commercial move as well. Obviously, the footballing side of it, he's one of the third most experienced manager in the Premier League. He's won a trophy now as well. He's a successful manager, and bringing it in, they obviously got a feel from the fans that we all love him, and we were all very much against Dyche towards the end of his time at Everton. So getting the fans on board by bringing in a David Moyes, it's a bit like when we said go and get Alan Myers early on, because the first thing you're doing is getting Everton fans on board by bringing in someone they love. And no, you do that with David Moyes, it's a good start, isn't it? So I think you're right, mate.
I think so, and I think your call's a really good one, because it's balanced. We have to balance boldness with the management of expectation as well. Classic cliche stuff. Rome wasn't built in a day, and what have you. And I think, if I'm being honest, appointing David was nearer to being a pragmatic decision than it was being a bold one. But we're not in an environment even now where we can take undue risks. So I think we will go through a transfer window where we try and minimise the risk to disrupting the squad by having too many changes. So therefore we might anticipate some of the players who are out of contract will stick around because it minimises the risk. I think we'll target next season being a very solid mid-table team, because that's what it should be based on what David's already got out of the existing squad. And if we dangle around the edge of the European competitions and stuff like that, and maybe get into one of them, be it the conference or whatever, then so be it. And I think previous leadership and previous managers, indeed, who've talked us down, have always talked the fans down, in the sense of, particularly Dyche would talk about, wouldn't he? You win a game and they want you to win the league. You lose a game and it's the end of the world. And that was balderdash, because we've got amongst the best informed fans. We've also got amongst the most passionate as well. And when those things get mixed up, then we can get really quite vocal. But if you get us behind you, right, then we are the greatest asset this football club has got, or indeed any football club has got. And all we've asked for, and I'm pleased he's used phrases like bold decision making, because we've talked for months, particularly when we've done the BWB stuff, around all we ask as fans. I give my view, and hopefully some agree, but all I want from my leadership is decisive in decision making and effective engagement and communication, and that's it. I think all the other best practice stuff you have to do to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it doesn't come. Like it doesn't come. It's not like, we're doing all this and it's going to happen. Things go wrong. Business changes.
Of course they do.
Minds. And as long as we have a set vision of, or the fans know a set vision of where we're trying to go, and if something goes wrong, maybe not know the ins and out details, but also have an idea of, listen, this didn't happen because of things didn't fall into place. Having that communication with the fans just quietens the hatches and just lets people know.
Of course it does.
All right, they're having a go. You know what I mean? And I think that's all the fans want to know. We are a sleeping giant in the effect of like Crystal Palace. They are going to obviously the FA Cup final. Newcastle have just won a cup. Like that's where we want to be. And for too long and for too many seasons, we've not say give up, but we've not put enough focus on domestic league positions, and that comes through quality of squads. And that's the first thing he mentions in his interview, is on the footballs first and foremost, and how can we be a better club. And that's where the optimism brings and it builds. And yourselves, lads, as over the years that our optimism's up then down, up and then down. And
absolutely.
Down, but it's so important that the club is seeing that now, and sort of having that communication straight away. This is where you've only been in a week. Normally you'd wait 6 months for that communication from other directors or football or chairmen, and then you're on your edge waiting for the information, aren't you? And then when it comes, you just jump on it and crawl on it. So
this is day 3. This is his 3rd day today.
And it's just, it fills you with confidence in that respect, doesn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think you're absolutely right as well. Yeah, you mentioned obviously.
Jumping. So with the players who are out of contract, I wouldn't be surprised if a handful of them do stay, like you just said, John.
I agree.
To steady the ship, because you can't strip a squad and then expect it to go and compete on the same levels. Or so many teams have done it, haven't they? And it hasn't worked. And
exactly.
Moyes will be pragmatic in that, and he knows if he's going to push for them higher places, he needs a big squad, and getting rid of a load is just going to put us on the back burner for money to spend, and also bringing that quality and the chemistry into the squad, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Well
think
said,
from an Everton fan point of view as well, you mentioned the word sleeping giants. It's exactly right. And I think if I like sometimes only Everton fans recognise that. We know we're a big club. We've got huge standards, and everyone underestimates our standards. And we get slagged off by other teams. Not won trophies for years. Slagged off by Reds, slagged off by Newcastle or whoever. We want our owners to recognise our standards isn't delusion. We're a massive club. We're a giant club, and we've been let down through poor standards for years. And it feels like we've had people at the club who don't recognise the standards, whether it's CEOs, managers. I don't think Sean Dyche recognised our standards, which is why I made the comments as, one of you'll week and then one week you'll win and the next week they're off you, because we've got standards, mate. We expect to win games and win them comfortably and get our teams. And all we want is club owners that recognise the standards. And I think Friedkin's made that aware when they came in, that they recognise we've got standards and they want to take us back to where we aspire to be.
No, spot on, mate. And if you want to just look at the black and white of how a manager, what he does behind the scenes, because we only see them in press conferences, really, don't we? But where the mind is. Sean Dyche said last season at Goodison, not to do with me, I'm here to win football matches. David Moyes, this is the most important game of the season, simply because it's the last ever men's game at Goodison Park, because he gets it, right? And that gets fans on side, right?
Yeah.
And what, I'll just keep saying this, I won't bore you to death, but this fan base really gets energised by effective leadership on and off the field. And it won't be a sleeping giant for long. It just won't be a sleeping giant for long.
Yeah, and I think you just said there about mentality and standards, John, is that the second the manager walked through the doors, he didn't practically say David Moyes. Sorry, he didn't exactly say, I'm David Moyes and I'm not going to be in a relegation fight. He just said, I'm not here to be in a relegation fight. And all the players have gone, oh my God, what are we in for now? Do you know what I mean? And they know that them performances, and I'm not to say that they would not play for the manager or whatever, but banging the same drum and playing the same way, and they're footballers, they want to express themselves, they want to play well, they want to score goals, they want to win games. Going into that Groundhog Day of how we were playing, you lose. Trying to get lads up to play and be at the top level, it's going to have an effect. And I think when he said that, the players have took note, and we've not had a bad football. Not saying not having a bad performance, but we've not performed as bad as we have since he's come in. So I think them standards and driving them standards is crucial for us. And the fan base, like you just said, John, are so strong that we'll come along with you. But you've got to give us something to go off.
Absolutely.
We've not played like a bunch of defeatists since he's come in. I think you're spot on. And it does go back to mentality. I know when when Newcastle's owners came in, they set standards and a mentality very quickly. They were a battling relegation club. They'd just been down like a year prior or 2 years prior, whatever. The mentality changed. Not just like the squad's not totally different, but they went after bigger players, better players. We deserve better players than where we are right now. To transform the players they already had. Look at Jacob Murphy and the lad who was a striker, Joe Linton, Dan Burn. They just won a trophy, the first trophy for years. It's come from mentality shift. They've not gone and got Carlo Ancelotti or James Rodriguez and just gone, we'll just get them. They've gone and they've acted like a big club, and I'm sure there's stuff internal that they've done as well, which is just a mentality thing. I'm sure they put like a fresh liquor of paint on this training ground. I went, why is the training ground all like that? Fresh liquor of paint, more professional. It's all about mentality and standards, and I think we've got high standards than anybody in terms of people outside the top six, and I think it's about time we got that recognised. I think the Friedkins have done a good job of making sure that we're aware that they're aware of our standards as well.
And when you look at the stats, like, we're not far away on points. So you spoke the other day, you and Baz, John, about what's your target and your points total. And you could probably go through and pick 10 games this season where it could have gone one way or it could have gone the other. You had a bit of pace and a bit of creation with the strikers we've got at the moment. You create more chances, you score more goals, you win more games.
Yeah.
And that's where the points total just slowly, just throughout the season, I say every other draw, we can potentially try and turn it to a win. You're not far behind pushing for them European places then. So I don't even think it needs a complete overhaul like some of the fans are sort of thinking they're going to get because you spent so long down in the dumps. These players are capable of pushing higher, and with a sprinkle of quality and a sprinkle of goals, we will be up there. And I think it's just a case of keeping our heads low to the ground, saying, right, where can we build? How are we going to progressively build? Because we don't want to build something to last 12 months. We want to build something that's going to last the next 10, 15 years. And it doesn't come overnight. And it's just about keeping our head on the ground, spending money wisely, and making sure that, like, look at Newcastle, 2 out of 3 past 3 seasons, they've been up out there about the European places, haven't they, or Champions League. And that's where we want to be. We want to be in amongst it. We might fall short, but as long as we're pushing to be up there, I think a lot of the fans will be happy that we're in amongst it rather than and looking above, on top of us, rather than below us.
Great summary of that, mate. That's spot on. Really is.
Sure.
Yeah.
But no, thanks very much for taking the call.
No
lads.
one can follow you.
Mick.
I can talk all night.
Well, no, Mick, it's been good having you. But listen, just before we let you go, we're doing best Goodison Park memories. Obviously, the last Premier League game on Sunday for the Everton men's team. Can you give us, before we let you go, your very best or favourite Goodison Park memory?
As you've been going through the calls, I've been trying to like narrow it down, because there is so many, and some not much so for like some of the European nights where the Goodison were fantastic. Yeah. But it's probably going to be 1 or 2, and it's the Duncan Ferguson goal against Man United, being a young chap and with me going in with my brother and the goal going in, like just the feeling of like euphoria when it went in, and they're the feelings that you can instantly shut your eyes and think about that moment, standing in your seat. Probably that moment on my first game when my uncle said to me, wait till the players come out and the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and all that. And it's that first memory of the surrounding behind you and all the fans being there. And then probably the Dan Gosling goal in the derby as well.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fantastic night because we hadn't beat them for a while. And you sit there thinking, come on, just one night, let it be our night. And obviously, he scored with a deflection, and it was just pandemonium. Like, I was in the main stand that night, and yeah, just boss memories, aren't they? So I'll be there Sunday, and hopefully it's a good, nice long day, and hopefully it drags as long as it can.
You and me both. See you there.
Mick, it's been really good.
Yeah.
Really good chatting to you.
So I doubt I'll see you, John, but
ditto.
Across the pitch.
Have a good one, mate. Take care.
Take care, Mick.
Thanks for taking this.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
There we go. Some very good calls there. Some interesting memories. I'm glad we got one that wasn't West Ham. There's a lot. Other teams are available. We'll do a few comments before we say our goodbyes. Let us know in the comments down below. It doesn't have to be live. It can be done later. Your favourite Goodison Park memory. I'm sure some will get read out on future podcasts as well. Mark Cody says we will have a much better squad next season.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Matthew Rampton, we get a penalty. Coleman to take it, being a great captain and a player for us. Possibly
3 or 4-0 up, few minutes to go.
Yeah,
you get a penalty.
Possibly, yeah.
Seamus is sitting there in his overcoat.
Yeah.
And the man says, Seamus, special teams time. On you go.
Get on there.
How cool would that be? The last goal scored by a men's player in the...
Pickford, well, he actually would score it.
Oh, yeah, I'll get you on.
Top corner.
Yeah.
Until the keeper saves it and belts it on the other end of the pitch. Go on to clean sheet at Goodison.
It is objective, won't it? A clean sheet at the last ever game.
Everton should sign Jamie Vardy in the summer transfer window. No, not for me. For me, as I said, we got standards, and let's go and sign someone who's not from a relegated team. Let's go and get the next Jamie Vardy. Let's go and get. I'd get the lad from Ipswich if we could, but I think United are in the front runner. Although we're a better team than United.
United are buying everyone again.
Yeah, they will do, won't they? I'll do the few final Premier customer comments before we get off. It's been nice seeing you all. Nice talking to you again. Brian Gardside says that Andy King derby. Jake Ablett, my first game against Stockport in the Cup. I still have a match programme. My programme box is like that, stacked. I don't remember much, but I remember my dad buying me a scarf outside and walking up to the steps and seeing the huge lights and the massive pitch, and it stuck with me forever. Dunk scored a brace and Rooney played 2. Why no business for playing last Friday? I'm sure one will be coming out soon, won't it, John?
Yeah, we're recording Friday morning.
Jake Ablett, the one time I played with you, Ned, I scored and made a worldie save, and I think that was my peak, so I may never play again. Last year, but I scored 4, didn't I? If the club is selling seats to supporters, does that mean Goodison will now be getting new seats put in, says Rob the East Belfast
Certainly worth the
Toffee.
ones that have been sold on.
Yeah, definitely, unless they put some standing seats in. And one figure out says hello there. Quick refresh before I get off. That's all the comments. Brilliant.
Smashing.
Nice one to see you all. Thanks to John for getting on with us. No problem. Thanks for all your lovely comments as well. Hopefully you'll all have a good day on Sunday. If not, I'm sure most of you will be watching anyway. You'll be there as well, won't you, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been nice to be back. Leave a comment, make sure you like the video, and make sure you subscribe. There's literally less than 100 to go, and I'll be back getting the tattoo live head on my forehead.
You shouldn't have said.
It won't be on my forehead. No, it's been good. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, join Premier, and watch Abdullah Corey video, and watch the Bongos Bingos interview that's out tonight. Take care. See you later.
Take care, guys. Thank you.